What are the odds of getting even? 13 to 1. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for a film released in 2007, and this is the third installment of the franchise I am currently reviewing, and this film, it was, third installment that came after the second installment that was released 3 years before this in 2004, and this film it's for the franchise I am currently reviewing, and this film is going to be for 2007's Ocean's 13. The third installment in the Oceans franchise, and to me the true final installment or send-off of the Oceans franchise. So yeah, here we go. Before we get into details, what's the plot of this film? Well, the last time we saw Danny Ocean's crew, they were paying back ruthless casino mogul Terry Benedict after stealing millions from him. However, it's been a while since they've come back together, which is all about to change. When one of their own, Ruben Tishkoff, builds a hotel within their casino owner, Willie Bank, the last thing he ever wanted was to get cut out of the deal personally by the loathsome Bank. Bank's attitude even goes so far as to finding the amusement in Tishkoff's misfortune when the double-crossing lands Ruben in the hospital because of a heart attack. However, Danny and his crew won't stand for Bank and what he's done to a friend. Uniting with their old enemy Benedict, who himself has a vendetta against Bank too, the crew is out to pull off a major plan, one that will unfold on the night Bank's newest hotspot opens up. They're not in this for the money, but for the revenge. So yeah, this movie can kind of serve as somewhat of a redemption for Danny Ocean. But anyway, what's the plot of this? Well, no. Was this made? Well, in January 2006, it was reported that producers were in discussions about setting and shooting most of the film at the Wynn, Las Vegas. Clooney had previously hoped to film it at his then upcoming Las Ramblas resort in Las Vegas, although the project would not have been ready in time for production. In March 2006, there were reports that the film would be shot in a fake casino that would be constructed on 5 Warner Bros. Sound stages. The film was expected to begin in Las Vegas and Los Angeles in July 2006, and Al Pacino joined the cast in April 2006. Location scouting took place in Las Vegas in mid-July 2006, with the Bellagio confirmed as a filming location, which was also used for scenes in Ocean's 11. Filming in Las Vegas began in August 2006, with scenes shot at McCarran International Airport and at a heliport. The following day, filming moved to the Palazzo Resort, which was under construction at the time. Filming in Las Vegas concluded on August 9, 2006, after scenes involved Clooney, Pitt, Damon, and Garcia were shot in an office at the back of the Bellagio. At that time, Clooney and producer Jerry Weintraub were considered premiering the film in Las Vegas. Another Las Vegas shoot was scheduled for September 2006, including additional filming at the Bellagio. And Julia Roberts and Catherine Zeta-Jones did not appear in their respective roles in Tess Ocean and Isabel Lahiri due to the actresses not wanting to participate in the movie without a significant part in the plot, which the script would not accommodate. Originally Topher Grace, who actually cameoed in the previous 2 films as a heavily fictionalized version of himself, was unable to return due to reshoots on when he was filming that horrible Venom in Spider-Man 3. He recalls that his planned cameo was going to involve him having a conversation with Rusty while holding an Asian baby and never addressing where the baby came from. So after the movie was completed, marketed, the film was screened out of a competition festival at the 2007 Cannes Film Festival and would be released in theaters on June 8, 2007, in the United States. The film was well received, better received than Ocean's 12, and grossed $311 million worldwide. As for my reaction to this movie, well, this is probably my second favorite of the franchise, and a worthy send-off to the Oceans franchise. In fact, this honestly should have been the last movie in the franchise they did, because this felt like a perfect book close to Danny Ocean's story. This movie can somewhat serve as a redemption arc for the whole game, because in the first 2, they're kind of like the robbers who steal, And this one they're not stealing to get themselves money. They're stealing to avenge an old comrade. I got cheated out of a debt. So in a way, this is kind of them. This is kind of them somewhat redeeming themselves in a way. Yeah, I feel like a broken record, but I need to say it again. Ocean's 13 is the Last Crusade makeup film, like what Last Crusade was to Temple of Doom. Now, I do like Ocean's 12 better than most people, but I also truly and really like this chapter slightly more. Does it match the original's originality, even though that movie is technically a remake? No. But it comes pretty damn close, and they made it back to Vegas, where they belong, to begin with. Nearly the entire movie is a team pulling the job against Willie Bank, and that's perfectly suitable because there was a lot to tell. Looking at the entire scheme of things, there was a lot of little mini jobs the crew had to pull off to make the whole thing work, and it was very fun watching him do it. Granted, the script was globe-trotting and a bit and adds some minor plot and continuities, but any simpleton should be able to decipher it and appreciate it. All the humorous inside jokes and funny one-liners are back too. The cinematography was elegant, and the music, composed by David Holmes, was second to none and blended nicely with the film's late 60s and early 70s motive. And the film is casted with the best cool guys there are. Brad Pitt and George Clooney once again make Swab look easy, and Matt Damon has really grown into this role. Don Cheadle and Ellie Izzard turn out great performances, and the banter between the Malloy twins is stuff that makes comedy fun. And the heist in this film is easily the best yet, because you can truly root for Ocean and the gang in this one. And in turn from the other Ocean films, like, once again, what I said, the crew is not robbing in this one. They're not out to steal this time. This time they're out to liberate the money from Willie Bank, the villain played by Al Pacino, and this time it's revenge more than robbery, and and once again, it kind of serves as a perfect redemption for Danny Ocean in this movie. Like, kind of a perfect way to redeem himself for his past crimes and Al Pacino's character deserves to be hated. Now, speaking of Al Pacino's character, Willie Bank, here's my thoughts on Willie Bank. I think Willie Bank is probably the best villain of this series to me. I think he's kind of a better villain than Terry Benedict for sure, and better villain than Vincent Cassel's character from 12. He's ruthless, cold, spiteful, and very hateable as he should be. They do make the writers really want this guy to be as hateable as you should hate him, and it works. And his performance makes him very hateable, and it works perfectly well. Nothing could really live up to the magic of the first one, the franchise, but this one definitely comes close. It's a hell of a lot of fun with the same witty, hilarious style that I loved in the first two, but this one raises the stakes just a bit. The heist is bigger, and they also aren't really stealing anything for themselves, so it's a bit anticlimactic, but this one is probably the most original of this series and also the most outrageous. I mean, Casey Affleck freaking out and starting a worker strike at a Mexican dice making factory, and then Scott Cam being sent to stop him only to be seen throwing a Molotov cocktail at the police. It doesn't get much better than that, and I was laughing throughout the whole entire scene. The best parts, once again, like the first two movies, are watching the characters sabotage everything from fixing slot machines to win jackpots at certain times, to fake earthquakes, and even annoying a hotel critic, David Paymer, to hilarious results. Posing as the various hotel employees, and the thing that makes this film is the actors. Everyone and more is back, excluding Catherine Zeta-Jones and Julia Roberts, who are only mentioned in passing reference. And I'm glad they're not back, because here's the thing. I've never liked their characters. I thought their two characters were pretty annoying in the first two, and they contribute literally nothing to the franchise's story, other than Tess is just Danny Ocean's love interest, and Catherine Zeta-Jones was just a cop. So that was it. But back to good qualities. The setting of Las Vegas is also irresistible, with beautiful date palm trees lining the streets, the constant solitude of the comfort and entertainment of its many guests, its beautiful neon lights and fountains and unique agriculture, and its fascinating casinos, of course. Like, I've never been to Las Vegas. Probably don't really want to go to Las Vegas, if I'm going to be honest. Because of a lot of dangerous stuff happens there. What I heard, but Las Vegas definitely looks like a pretty beautiful place. I will admit that, and like you can even get some good quotes from Al Pacino in this movie too, like Tunica, isn't that where games go to die? And Al Pacino just adds much to this final film of the trilogy. Pacino knows how to assume the style of a successful and rich hotel casino owner without portraying boredom, impatience, or hostility. A hotel casino owner should be the perfect host, especially during the opening day of the hotel casino, and Pacino is the perfect to somewhat paranoid host as Pacino puts on the skin of his character in a convincing manner. And Manny Garcia does come back. He's also very good as the competing hotel casino owner from the other two movies, and co-conspired with Danny Ocean somewhat. Because there is kind of one problem with Garcia's return though. It's the twist reveal that I feel like had really nothing to do with the movie and wasn't really needed. Like in this movie, we know Terry Benedict works with Danny in the game because he also hates Bank for more personal reasons. Instead, though, you really think they'd finally settle their differences for this moment, and actually, no. Instead, he just uses this as an advantage to also just rob for his personal reasons, because he instead also double crosses the game, again for no reason, and is pretty much still somewhat of an antagonist anyway. So yeah, they repeat that cliche where they're not actually turning good, they were evil the whole time. And rather they didn't do that for once, because it actually also would have been a good redemption for his character. Vincent Cassel also does come back, but he's just in one scene, so his return was kind of pointless. And that's where they're getting the diamonds. When he finds out he gets the fake diamonds, he just throws a fit, and he's just never seen in the movie again, so he was just literally in one part. And another character I don't really like and found kind of irritating was Ellen Barkin's character, who assists Bank because she also contributes nothing to the story, and she barely does anything that's remotely useful to the plot. Like just to give Bank like one loyal supporter, that was just it. Like if you cut her out of the movie, you wouldn't even be missing a thing. I mean, there is nothing really distinctive about Ocean's 13's story. It is well paced and executed. The dialogue is crisp, clever, and funny. Al Pacino does what he was hired to do, which is not in the scenery. He's masterful. And Matt Damon makes a hilarious comment turn in his role as Linus disguises himself as Lenny Pepperidge, an interpreter of a Chinese high roller. Don Cheadle is really solid as Bachelor, doubling as expert engineer and motorcycle daredevil. And George Clooney is smart, charming, and cool as Danny Ocean. Brad Pitt is at his breezy best and again demonstrates his gift as a natural straight man bellet for Clooney's Ocean. So Ocean's 13 is kind of a guy's movie, literally. And I've already mentioned before that 13 is the funniest of the three Oceans movies, and much of the humor is slightly self-referential, but never overly so. Many of the lines are the same witty variety that were so funny in the first one as well. And like I've already said, the acting is just as good as it was in 11. Ted and Clooney have so much chemistry together. They have the best chemistry of the series. They're just so darn good at being suave, cool, witty thieves that we love to root for. Pacino's terrific as the bad guy, and but on the sad side of things, this would kind of be the last good movie Pacino did. Because after this, he made a lot of bad stinkers like 88 Minutes, Righteous Kill, the Adam Sandler Schiff as Jack and Jill, even he cameos in that. Which, although there is one, but with this cameo in Jack and Jill, he does summarize that movie perfectly. This must never be seen by anyone. When he sees that crappy commercial of himself rapping, that's pretty much a good quote for the entire movie itself. I feel like this should have been the last movie he did, because this was kind of the last good movie he did, and Andy Garcia is also good, but there's not much for him to work with in this film, and while I like John Cheadle, Bernie Mac's performances, I'm kind of disappointed they didn't get much screen time as they should have, but they did well with what they had, Cheadle especially. And what I also really like is how this movie ends the franchise. The movie actually ends with the gang disbanding, returning to their old lives, and just going back home and laying low for some time, resuming life as normal. So the franchise kind of beautifully ends with Danny and his pals walking off, kind of having a sunset ending where they just walk off and disappear into the airport and go home. It's a perfect ending for the characters. here. Not some melodramatic bullshit where Danny either retires or dies. No, they don't do that crap for once. It just ends with them kind of walking off into the sunset, basically. Kind of like how Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade ended the trilogy. They just go home and they just resume lives as normal. It's kind of perfect. They've kind of got revenge for Rube. They got revenge for Ruben. They got Ruben his casino. Ruben Tiskov gets to have his own casino now. Now that bank's been cheated out of it. So it's kind of a good. So this movie was a good redemption, a good send off for the whole game. What's so great about Ocean's 13 is that it consistently stays true to what it is, a fun heist movie. It moves along at a fast pace and never wavers, like the original did with the Rat Pack. This movie is really all about the guys, the 11, and I love that there's no cheesy love story to take away from that. Ocean's 13 is light and breezy for a heist film, and the humor adds to that. Overall, it's one of those perfect escape movies, and it makes no attempts to be any more than just that. It's definitely my second favorite of the franchise. So in the end, Ocean's 13 is a worthy finale to the franchise, until they made 8 anyways, which I'm going to review next, and it is worth seeing if you want a better sequel if you were disappointed by 12. Anyway, that's it for my review of Ocean's 13, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Ocean's 13, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you want a better follow-up after you were not so fond of 12, then I would easily watch this and then buy it add to your collection for sure, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Ocean's 13, I'm going to give Ocean's 13 an 8.5 out of 10. There we go. That wraps up my review for Ocean's 13, and we just completed the original 3 movies. So, only one more Ocean's movie to go, and that's the 2018 spin-off Ocean's 8, which I had also rewatched earlier this week, so yeah. So stay tuned for that when I eventually do it. But until then, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank y'all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, then don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone,